to the cloud. All right, well, welcome. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm Marcy Mallory, the president of the Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation. I'm going to ask the staff to introduce themselves, and then I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. So Bernadette, why don't we start with you?
Hi, I'm Bernadette Howard. I'm the bookkeeper at PPFF, and I've been here 6 years.
Yay! Pam Metzger, how about if you introduce yourself?
I am Pam Metzger, Membership Coordinator and Technology Wrangler, at least for a little while longer. And I've been here many years.
And then Bryce.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bryce Kruger. I am our new chapter and public engagement coordinator, and I've been here for 6 weeks.
Welcome, Bryce. So I'll call on you. We'll go around the room, and if you could introduce yourself, share what chapter you are with, so your colleagues can hear from you as well. And if there's any burning question you want to make sure that we touch on tonight, please share that now, because we do have Bernadette has her talking points, but we want to make sure that we touch on the things that you're interested in learning about. So Meredith, we'll start with you.
I get to be the first one. So I'm Meredith, and I'm here with Cook Forest out in Western Pennsylvania. I'm not quite sure where everybody else is from, but that's me with Cook Forest.
And did you have any burning questions that you want to make sure we touch on?
Not as of right now. I'm sure you're going to answer all of them.
I love the vote of confidence. Thank you. Yeah. Michelle.
My name's Michelle Pritz, and I am the new treasurer for the Friends of Laurel Hill Complex. So yeah, I don't have any burning questions either, because I am also confident that you're going to answer everything I have in my head tonight. So I'm ready to take lots of notes.
Great, thank you. Donna.
Hi, I'm Donna Rhodes. I recently became the treasurer for Little Buffalo Friends. So brand new, I know nothing.
Great, thank you, Donna. Brian? Are you able to take yourself off? There we go,
Sure.
Great.
Hi, I'm Brian Brown. I'm treasurer for the Friends of RB Winter. I think we formed in 2021. So I'm just here to refresh my memory and see what's new.
Great, thank you, Brian. Jay?
Hi, I'm Jay Crossland. I'm with the Friends of Nolde Forest. I'm starting my 4th year with them. No questions at this point.
Great. Jack?
I'm Jack Miller from the Friends of Red Deer Creek State Park, and I became the chairperson for the Friends in 2007. It doesn't mean I'm any good. It just means that nobody's willing to say, "Ooh, I'll try that job."
Thank you for being here, Jack.
Thank you.
Diane? Diane, are you able to take yourself off of mute? There we go. Great.
Hi, I'm from the Friends of Beltsville. I joined them in 2016 and became the treasurer in 2017. No burning questions.
Okay, great. Jonathan.
Howdy, everyone. Jonathan Siegel, Friends of Black Mashannon State Park. Brian, haven't seen you in a few years. No pressing questions.
Great. Thank you, Jonathan. Sierra?
Hi, I'm Sierra. I'm from Friends of Cowan's Gap State Park, and I have no questions.
Great. Thank you, Sierra. And Mackenzie?
Hi, I'm Mackenzie from the Friends of Ridley Creek with Jack. I've been the board treasurer for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years now. No questions from me either.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you all for being here. We know that your time is precious, so we appreciate your willingness to join us for an hour to talk about this. So Bernadette, I know that you had some things that you wanted to share. So let's start with you, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Well, first I was going to start off with, our procedures and how we do deposits. because there are a few of you that are brand new, and truthfully, two of you have never done a deposit. The other one, you just did yours, huh, Donna? So we wanted to go over this. I don't know if any of you have been online to our Friends resources, but we have the the forms in the Friends resources. All the forms you need are actually on there. So that is where the deposit form would be found. Or, if you can't find it, then I can email you one. And then you would fill that out every time you want to make a deposit with, when people donate their checks. You have to fill out all the information. First off, you need to put your title in the top of it, friends of, whatever group. You have to itemize your deposit, start with a chronological or an alphabetical number so that Pam is going to bring it up on the screen here. So that you know what your deposits are, and so that I know when I get one, it's Friends of Little Buffalo, 1, 2, 3. If I get one, if I get number 2, but I haven't gotten one, then I know, excuse me, something has gotten lost. And so then I can contact you and we can start working on that, because then you would have to contact your donors, say you don't know what happened to the check, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't number them or alphabetize them in any way, then I have no way of knowing what you've sent. So I can't alert you if something is lost. Okay.
Bernadette, can I inject here? When you're doing your name of your friends group, you see that it says park, forest, or friends group. All of the parks and forests also have an account. So please write friends of, because when it comes in, it's much easier if we don't have to guess, is this a park deposit or a friends group deposit?
And the only way I tell that is I look at the whose name is on it. If it's the treasurer of your friends group, and I'm like, okay, that's the friends. But sometimes it just saves us time, which we don't have a lot of sometimes. So then when you get your checks, you have to fill out the name, address, city, everything, check number, and then you would put it in the my mind is gone. You would put it, whether it's dues, contributions, if it's sales, if it's you're going to have an event and the vendors are paying their fees, if you're selling firewood, that all gets broken out when you do your deposit. So whatever that check is for, that's where you put it. So, and then also I want to remind people, sometimes we will get checks from people's retirement accounts, and it won't really be the name on the check. It will be the name of the financial organization that is handling their account. And so people will sometimes just send in the check, but won't send in the backup. If you don't send in the backup, then we don't really know who the check is from, and we cannot give them any kind of credit because we don't know who from Morgan Stanley sent in a check. So, but if you give us the backup, normally that's on there. So just please make sure you do that. Because, if people make sizable contributions at the end of the year, they're not too happy if they're not getting credit for it. And what happens then is I will make copies of the deposit form and send it to Pam, and anything over $100, she will then send an IRS thank you letter, which is everything they need to take it off their taxes, since it is tax deductible. The other thing we want to say is please do not hold your checks. There are sometimes people who are holding their checks for months, and then when we go to deposit, the bank will not accept it. They're calling them stale checks, and they return them, which, that gets involved for everybody, because the person it got returned to is most likely getting a bank fee. We're getting a bank fee, and so is the friends group. So.
And
Any
Bernadette,
question?
I'm going to add there too. It also, if it's a donor or a payment, it is an indication that that money, that check was not important to you if you do not deposit it right away.
Right.
And we had a sizable check rejected as stale last year. A friends group sat on it for several months, and it was for over $5,000. So, please make sure that you're not sitting on the checks, and make sure that the checks are written out to the Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation, particularly if they're sizable.
Right. Sometimes people are trying to write them out to DCNR or to the friends group, and that's just not really right. We cannot take them. And so then it puts you in a bad spot to have to go back to them and say, hey, we appreciate you making the donation, but we need another check because this isn't made out to the right organization. So, then they might not understand. So, okay. If when you're doing your deposit and you have any kind of sales of firewood, clothing, or ice, there is no sales tax on that. So down in your summary, Pam is moving down there for us. So you see your spot for donations, your non-taxable sales and firewood would go in the next two. If you have any taxable sales, which would be like stickers, calendars, anything not ice, firewood, and clothing, it gets taxed. And so then you would have to break out your tax from that amount. And there is a mathematical thing because you need to build your tax into the price of the things that you sell. And then you need to back it out when you send it in to us, because I do once a month, I have to pay the sales tax, and that's where I get it from. So, okay, so what you would do is you would take the taxable sales, $22, and divide it by 0.106, and that gives you what it would be without the tax, and then you do your subtraction, and that's how you get that. So, okay, so the other thing that I have this written down, I had so many notes, and every note has, please add up your checks twice, because it's so easy to make a mistake. Some people will enter all their checks on the deposit form and add that up, but that is not really what the checks add up to. You have to add up the checks physically and then add it up on the deposit, and it should match. Then you're good to go, because otherwise, then I'm the one that has to check each and every check that you have sent. And sometimes we have over 30 deposits at a time, and it's real time consuming. So, but anyway, I mean, I've been a bookkeeper most of my life, and I still do it just to be sure. So that's just an easy little hint that keeps us all happy. Okay. So also, if any of you do not have a stamp that says for deposit only, PPFF, please let me know and we can send you one. You should always make sure your checks are stamped on the back before you put them in the mail. That way they're pretty safe, that no one can do anything with it. Also, do not ever send cash, and do not deposit cash into your checking account and write a personal check. That makes it look like you're sending a donation, which it is not. So that's why we asked if you would go to the bank and you get a money order or a cashier's check for that amount, and then you would treat it just like a check and enter it on your deposit form. And you would just put PPFF money order. Okay, and then the bank. That way we would know. The other thing with money orders, and you would not believe how many times this happens, people send them in blank, completely blank. I mean, I just shake my head, because in today's world, you just wouldn't think anybody would take a chance of doing that. But you know, when I get them, then I have to write in PPFF, but I still let, you know, the treasurer know that you never send a blank money order, because if that does get lost in the mail, somebody can open it and cash it and you would not have a leg to stand on. So, because all they have to do is write their name in. So just please make sure that you don't do that. Anybody have any questions so far? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
No, I'm just shaking my head no.
I didn't hear you. Okay. Okay. When people do make a donation, like as Marcy said, you want to make sure that they make it out to PA Parks and Forest, PPFF, and then in the memo section, they put the group to what it, you know, Friends of Ridley, Friends of Cowan, anything like that goes in the memo section. That way we know where to put it. So, okay. I have notes everywhere, so please bear with me. Okay. I think we Okay, so if nobody has any questions about deposits, then we can move on to expenses and check requests. Okay. When you need to pay for something, you want to order something, it's best you send in a check request to me, to PPFF. And Pam, can you bring that up?
Slow. My computer's very slow tonight.
Okay. All right, now this is our check request form. As Marcy said before, it would be great if you put the friends of, or even circle, you know, friends group, you know, if it's for a park, then they usually circle park. But, and if it's, the money is come out of a special account, you know, like if there's sometimes some have multiple columns, they have a general account, they have a sales account, you know, maybe they have a memorial account, a bench account, and if you want the money in a playground account, a couple of you have playgrounds that you're working on, tell me where you want it and I will take the money out of that account only. So, and a lot of times when, like a lot of people are fundraising for playgrounds and bridges right now, people donate for that specific fund. So we don't want to be spending their money on other things. We only want it to spend it on the playground, you know, or whatever they request. So you put in the vendor name, okay, and the date, the invoice number. Always give a copy of the invoice or quote. Okay, and then it really helps if you put what the purpose is for the purchase. That helps everyone on there because this form has to be signed by both the treasurer and the park manager. We do this so that everything that's running through the Friends group is getting the okay of the park managers that he is in agreement with everything that you are doing and what you are buying. And because some of them have certain things they don't want in their parks. And that way you get to know, you know, what the way that he or she is leaning, and you work better that way. So if you are doing a, yes, if the check is supposed to go somewhere else, like sometimes people will want the check mailed to the park office. Maybe they're going down to get a load of lumber. And so I'll mail the check to the park and then they will go down and wherever and pick up their delivery. So, but you have to let me know that, because otherwise I will mail it to the vendor. So now, if a lot of times some of the friends will go and they will buy something with their own money, and then they will want reimbursed for that. You will still put, you can either put where Pam put her name, or you can put down at the couple spaces down, check payee if different from the vendor. Some people will say they went to Lowe's, but the check payee is to be one of the friends. Exactly. So, but you always have to have a paid receipt. You cannot, I've been sending back people, they're sending me orders instead of paid receipts. You know, we need to show that it was paid out of your pocket. And, you know, a lot of times if it's from Amazon or whatever, you know, it'll show the last four of a credit card, you know, or if it's Walmart and you've paid cash or whatever, please send me a copy of that and there will be no problems. So, and then those two have to be signed by the treasurer and the park manager. Then you send it to me no later than like 2:00 on a Wednesday. And most likely I will have enough time to get it out that Thursday. So, any questions? Also, okay, I also want to let you guys know that we do have tax exempt numbers if you are going to a small town, you know, like a True Value or something like that, and you want to use the tax exempt, I will send you a form that you will fill out for a one-time purchase, and you should have no problem getting them to exempt you from sales tax. We do also have a tax exempt for Lowe's and Home Depot, but those are not the same tax number that you have on the form that I will send you, because they're national. They have their own systems, so they have assigned, we have gone through the paperwork and they have assigned their own numbers, you know, to us. So, okay. The fastest way to get your checks paid is if you scan them to me through email, because sometimes it could take a week by the time you put it in the mail and it actually gets here. So, okay. So also I wanted to please do not ever pay cash to a vendor. You know, if you're having a festival or something and someone wants, you know, like a musician or whatever wants paid cash, or anybody wants paid cash, you do not pay cash. You, for anything like that, you would do a check request and send it to me, I will get it to you as soon as I can. Normally with performances, you know that they're coming up. So normally everybody sends me their paperwork about at least 2 weeks, sometimes 3, depending on where you're located, because it takes longer for the checks to get there. So I would say between 2 and 3 weeks, send all your paperwork. I'll cut the checks, send them to you, and then you hold them until the performance. So, but do not ever pay cash to anybody. So. Okay, anybody have any questions? The other thing, if any of you are doing sales, you have to do an inventory twice a year, in June and at the end of the year. You know, some of you close up shop, some of you kind of never close up shop and just keep running, but you still have to do your year-end inventory. And we have to do that per our audit. It's, you know, it's their rules, it's the government's rules, not ours. So we have to do it. So. Anybody have any questions?
I would just add on the inventory that quite a few of the friends groups that are doing the inventory have talked about how helpful it has been for them to manage their product, as well as to see what is selling and what isn't selling, and to know when to maybe take things on sale or to repurpose it into prizes for something. So it is a tool for managing the work that you do, not just something that the auditor needs, but it's something that helps you, so you don't end up with a ton of inventory or money tied up in inventory.
Okay. I was going to talk a little bit about insurance. If any of you are having any kind of, craft fairs, fall festivals, anything like that, you may need insurance. Pam has done a really, really good event planning tree that's on our website. If you follow that, basically it's like if the friends are sponsoring it, you're going to need insurance. If the park is sponsoring it and you are helping, the insurance is the park's responsibility. So, but if you and all food vendors will have to have their own insurance, their liability insurance. So if someone gets sick on the food, they cannot come back, and they have to name the park and PPFF as additional insured. That way they can't come back on either one of us if someone would get sick on their food. Hay rides are not covered by any insurance that we can find. So if they're having hay rides, usually it's the park having it and not our friends group, because none of our insurance will cover it. So if you are doing 5Ks, we belong to Roadrunners of America, and we get our insurance through them for the 5Ks, because insurance has changed a lot over the years. Things that were easy to cover are no longer. So we've had to go through all this, and Pam's done a wonderful job at trying to keep it all straight for us. And we still have questions, huh, Pam? If you have anything, like if you're having a petting zoo or a chainsaw carver, they all need to have their own liability insurance, and they need to send those insurance papers to us so that we know, because our insurance will not cover anything like that. So.
And Bernadette, can I interject here too? If you're having a race and if you're using Run Sign Up, what you need to do is you need to contact us in advance, and I will send you the link that you need to give us a heads up so that we can automatically have those proceeds going directly into our bank account and have them identified as your event. But you have to do that by contacting us first, but because we do have an account with Run Sign Up. And they do not just 5Ks, they do mountain bike races, they do all sorts of things. So it is a good resource if you're hosting that type of event. I would also add that many of you have heard from your managers that your special activities agreement or your letter of authorization now has to go through an internal DCNR process that you may not have had to do before, and that can take some time. So if you're having events, do plan ahead. And they will come back to us to get some of the additional things that you need. So they need time and we need time. And right now they are charging fees for that. We're trying to have those fees waived for friends groups, but you may find that there's a fee for that agreement that you have gotten in the past for free. Sorry, Bernadette, just seemed like the right place to put it in there.
Hey. That's fine. I mean, it's definitely necessary. Also want to let everybody know, if you're having musicians, the musicians you have to fill out the performance contract on our website. Our contract is the most important. They are contracting our contract is, how do I want to say that, Marcy, is prime. If they write a contract, you can sign it, but our contracts have to be filled out and signed by both parties, or it is considered not an executed contract.
Our contract was written with a music attorney, and it is designed to protect you. The reason we have a contract is we had some friends groups that had musicians not show up to a big event. So it is designed to protect you, the friends group, as opposed to the musician.
And when you do a music contract, they have to give you their social security number or their federal ID, or I won't send the check, because sometimes what happens is you have multiple people going to different parks. In fact, I had that happen today, actually. A musician called and said, I got this 1099 and I didn't work at this park for $2,000. And so I pulled it up on my QuickBooks and I said, well, you were at Little Buffalo, you were at here, you were here, and you were here. And he's like, oh, they don't realize that when those checks are coming from us, the government, it's totaling all up into one total. And so that you have to send a 1099 when they reach a certain point. So that's why we require it, so that we are not chasing people at the end of the year, and we just get it up front. So that's why we require that. So Pam, I think I'm actually done. If anybody has any questions, please speak up.
I do.
Okay.
I just have a couple of questions about that Run Sign Up account.
Yes.
Would the friends group then, would that cost them anything to have their races run through that?
I don't think there's a fee for that other than your regular credit card processing fee.
Okay.
A lot of groups use it. It's a very popular tool, and it allows you as the user to also build a little website for the race,
Right.
to offer swag that people can
Yeah.
purchase for the race.
Okay. And then can you still, if you do that, can you still have like the paper signups the day of? Because we always have a lot of that. People wait to see what the weather's going to be.
I think so, but let me check and confirm
Okay.
on that, Michelle.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm?
That's all I have.
But I just want to say, but you don't get insurance through Run Sign Up. Insurance is something different. Okay.
Yeah, it gets confusing. We have run this, run that.
I know.
Run. But while we're talking about races, we do have some groups that give cash prizes for races, or cash prizes. What's this?
We can't hear you.
You went all weird.
It's
You got all watery.
is it okay?
You're good now.
Yeah. In the updated chapter handbook, which hopefully you have seen, we did update some of the financial policies. We look at cash prizes. We have some races that have a cash prize purse. We have some other activities that are cash prizes. And it's very important that if you're giving a cash prize, that you have the winners sign a statement that they received that cash prize or cash equivalent. Let's say it's a gift card. There is a sample spreadsheet that was part of the chapter handbook. It's also, I think, Pam, did we put it up as an Excel sheet on the website? And if we didn't, we will. And, we had a group that said, oh, that feels kind of dirty to ask them to do that. And we just did cash prizes for a photo contest, and nobody had any qualms about signing to show that the cash was received. And it really does protect you. Because somebody can come back and say, I never got my prize. If you have no receipt of the prize, you have no recourse. It's one person's word against another person's word. So please make sure that you do that. Actually, there was something else that we updated in the chapter handbook. It'll come to me. Give me a second.
In the meantime, I just wanted to ask if everybody knows how to pull your report of online donations through Neon. If you have your link on how you can get that report anytime you want to. I see you shaking your head, Michelle. I'll make sure you get your login so that you know how to do that. And under normal circumstances, whenever someone makes an online gift, Neon sends an automatic system email to that person acknowledging that it happened with a carbon copy to the chair and the treasurer. Well, we discovered in mid-January that for some reason they just stopped sending. And development, customer service is still working on it. So when I go into my daily queue and see that people have done a donation to one of you, I've been forced sending that email, and hopefully that is triggering the copy to you. But I'm not sure about that. There's no record of that part. There's a record that it's going to the person, and my assumption is that's triggering the blind carbon copy to you as well. But hopefully they'll get it fixed. But in the meantime, my advice is to make sure you're checking your report. So I will make sure, Michelle, you get yours. Meredith, do you know how to pull your report?
And Donna.
Slow on that. No, I do not yet, but I
Okay.
will look
And
into
Donna,
it.
you're new too, so maybe you
Yeah,
don't
I
have
don't
it
know
yet.
how to do that either. No.
Okay, cool beans. I'll get it to you guys. I think everybody else has been around a while and knows how to do that, but I'll get that to you tomorrow.
Thanks.
I thought the other thing related to gift cards is that we cannot purchase gift cards to give them to people as gifts or to give them because we want to recognize them in some way. That is considered a cash or a cash equivalent, that we're using money that is raised for a particular purpose and giving it to somebody to use for private gain or for private use. So if there's somebody retiring or there's a birthday celebration or somebody's in the hospital and you want to send them flowers, it really should be the passing of the hat around the board, and board members could personally donate, but you can't do that out of the treasury of the Friends group. We'll leave a little more space for questions.
All right, I have a question.
Sure.
Well, I used to go to the park headquarters and pick up the checks. I see the letter, see the check, and we send them off to PPFF. Now everything goes to PPFF. I don't see the letters. I don't see the checks. I just see the letter, the note that comes about thank you for the donation. If some of these things are donated for something, I don't know what it is. So is there some way I can figure out what I should be thanking these people for? Donation for the bridge, donation for the playground, because I don't know what it was for. And some of the sizable ones.
If it's, Jack, people generally aren't sending money to us unless.
No, I mean, the checks all come in.
If it's coming in through the website, if they're earmarking it for something, that should be in the report that you get.
Okay.
And Pam would probably communicate that to Bernadette, and it would also go into a restricted line on your form. If people are just sending us money and it's a sizable sum, we usually contact you to say, hey, so-and-so sent money. If it's
okay,
most of the time it's money is coming through the treasurer, not coming directly to us. It's,
right.
There are some outliers, but for the most part, it doesn't come to us. And we prefer it not come to us. It should come to you first, unless they're giving through the Neon portal.
Right. I just got one about a month ago. It said about a grant. You use this money for the grant. And if you don't use it all for the grant, give us what's left over. I don't know what was in the grant. We didn't apply for a grant. They just gave it the money.
I don't know what grant you're talking about. If you want to have a conversation offline about it, I'm happy to chat with you.
I can forward you in and loop you in on that, Marcy. It was really strange because I had asked around about it and none of us had applied for a grant. That's not something we'd even really discussed. And then it came in the mail saying we had it. And so it's like they're giving us money, but we can only use it in a certain way.
You know,
Yeah,
I wonder
I'm
if
not
it's-
aware of it.
You know, some of those distributions from IRAs and things, they call them grants,
Call them grants.
but they're not really grants. They're just a distribution from someone's retirement account. So it's a poor choice of words. Because I get the letters from Bernadette to, you know, process the deposit into your into the account to do the acknowledgement for a, you know, a large donation. I'm like, is this really a grant? I just asked Bernadette this week about one of this. Is this a grant or is she giving us money? And they just use that word willy-nilly.
Yeah, and those do come to us oftentimes because they're coming directly from Vanguard or you know, any of the many numerous retirement accounts, because at a certain age people have to do mandatory withdrawals, and if it comes directly from their account, it's taxed differently. So we get, like, we have one donor who gives a sizable sum every month to a park. You know, and it comes directly to us. So we do see those. So that might be what you're talking about. If one of those had come in,
Do you
it
mind
would
if I have the scans? Do you mind if I email it to you and you can just take a quick look at that and see if it looks familiar to you? And
yeah, that would be great. Yep, please do,
Okay, awesome.
Mackenzie.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if your group is thinking about applying for grants, please remember that we have a grant process, that you cannot just go and apply for a grant. You have to first contact us, you know, fill out the request that you want to apply for a grant, and then we'll review it and then work with you, because grants legally bind the foundation. We've had problems where people have applied for grants and they're reimbursement grants and they don't have the money to operate the grant. We had a group a few years ago that was getting a grant and was not presenting it to us as a grant, and they were not reporting accurately, and we had to work to keep them out of prison for not being honest with the government and fudging budgets. And so, you know, we take it very seriously because we don't want anybody to get in trouble, and we don't want to get in trouble.
Well, we did not apply for the grant, and we don't want to get in trouble either, but it just came with no explanation other than somebody from Indiana donated a lot of money. So it's
Yeah, well, you know, things happen like that. We have a wish list up of needs list in state parks, and we got an anonymous check one day for $25,000 and said, "Hey, put in that playground at Blue Knob." We don't know who sent it. It was good money. We put in the playground. Hopefully they're happy, because we couldn't thank them. We couldn't tell them the project was done. We just made sure we mentioned that it was done. So hopefully that they saw it somewhere. So you just never know, Jack. You may have done something and somebody saw it and was appreciative and wanted to be able to support it, but doesn't want to be recognized. So,
well, the jail thing scares me.
This was legitimately, they applied for a grant and then they were giving grant reports saying that they did things that they didn't do.
Okay. All right. We'll try to figure it out.
I will share too that you know, I'm gonna let Bryce talk about this for a little bit. We are working on an online learning platform, and one of the pieces was something that people have requested in the past, and it's, how do I write an appeal letter? So I'm gonna let Bryce talk about that for a few minutes.
Yeah, one of our fundraising coaches, Chad Berger, he put together a webinar, and that walks you through the process of writing an appeal letter. And that goes through understanding the story that you're writing out call to actions, even just creating a list of who you're soliciting. And then at the end of that course, our hope is that we'll walk you through the different stages, and then you can end up with a draft appeal letter, and then that'll come to us. and to yourself so you have a copy, but that also gives us a chance to provide you with feedback. Some of us are very comfortable asking for money, and for others, it's maybe our first time. And so you don't just sneak up behind somebody and say, hey, give me all your money, or we do good things, trust us. There's a little more tact to that. And so the hope is that with that course, it's pretty approachable, only about 30 minutes of video time, so maybe an hour to get through it, and then also allows us to kind of help you out with that and get you set on the right foot. So hopefully we'll have that out in the next month or so for you.
Yeah. And we know that it's not all treasurer's role, but it, something you can share with your board once it's up and done. And if there are any other trainings, we are playing around with this software so that it's available to you at any time. So if there are things that you think would be helpful, please communicate with Bryce and let him know, and we can put that in the queue for additional training materials. And he'll put his see, I see him typing. I know he's putting his contact in the chat box there. For those of you who have sales, we are doing a conversation next week in regards to retail. It's an initial conversation to learn from one another, but also to see if there is a particular training need that would be helpful, so that we can bring somebody in that has an expertise in running retail establishments. So we do encourage you, if you have sales of any size, to join us, or to have somebody from your board, if that's their role, to join us. And we are, Michelle, trying to get Connie to be there as well, so that it's the initial one is a conversation from learning from one another. There might be opportunities for shared purchasing to reduce costs. Maybe there's vendors that you're using and somebody else isn't aware of. But then ultimately, we'd like to see, are there training needs to help your retail establishment do better? And I know, Brian, that Mary Hurst is very interested in that. Well, it appears there are no other questions, but just one last call for them. Michelle, you have one?
I have a question. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep
That's okay.
everyone, but it's just something simple that I don't think I've just given where we were with our last treasurer. When I get the bank statements, so those go to the park
Well,
office.
we can talk to you separately, because yours is unique because you have a staff person there.
Got
So
it.
let's
Okay.
talk. If you want to hang out afterwards, we can chat
Can we
about it.
just, it'll 5 minutes.
Yep,
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Perfect.
We can chat
That's
about
all
it.
I have then.
Yep.
So real quickly,
Donna, do you have a question?
Yes, please. Real quickly, what Michelle was saying, when I hear her saying bank statements, are those the statements that are coming from PPFF? Because my question initially was, and that's why I was waiting and listening to see if I got answered. A friends group is not permitted to have like a checking account. So if we have cash building up, we can take it and put it in until we send it, right? We have to just keep it and send it as quickly as we're able to.
We have moved away from that.
Okay.
Donna, it has created a lot of challenges. And we don't do them.
And I thought that was the answer, but I just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yes.
When I became the treasurer, the old treasurer, back up, sorry. We have a safe at the park office. And when I became the treasurer, she gave me the combination to the safe. The question is, should more than one person in a friends group have the combination to the safe?
That's a good question, because technically the only person who should be handling the money is you as the treasurer. I guess the issue is, should you get hit by a bus? How do you get into it? I have a call tomorrow with our accountant. Let me have a conversation with her in regards to that, Jonathan, because
if I send it to Bernadette, she won't care, right?
No, you could send it to Bernadette and she could lock it in our safe.
Yeah.
Then if something were to happen to you, somebody could call us and we could say, here's the information that you need.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
But yeah, because, you know, for treasurers that are new, park management is not supposed to be handling Friends money. You know, the parks that have honor system retail, you know, oftentimes it's going into a lockbox. Maybe they can make change for people, but they're not, they have a multiple page document that outlines the protocol for finances within a park. And there's a couple lines in there that specifically says that park personnel are not allowed to handle Friends group money.
Marcy, so I just wanted to add, so for the Friends of RB Winter, I have the combination. We have a safe too in the park office, and I have the combination, and so does Mary Hurst, who's also part of the board. So, I mean,
Mary's your retail committee though, right? She runs
right,
that.
yeah. So and then she puts it in the safe so that when I can get up to the park, I can get it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that makes sense.
okay.
But you really don't want everybody to have it.
Right. I think it's just us two.
The operative word is I think.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody in the park staff knows it. I think it's just the Friends group, but I don't know if the other people on the board of the Friends have the combination. I'll have to ask Mary next
Okay.
time I see her.
Yeah, and you don't want everybody on the board to have it or multiple people.
Okay.
Yeah,
We could always
wanna,
change the combination if that's
right. Yeah, you want to limit access.
Okay.
It's just safer.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's helpful to know. Thank you.
Yep. And you can always send it to Bernadette as well if you feel like, you know,
Okay.
you need to have a backup.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, Mackenzie, I saw that you sent that. I'll take a look at it and get back to you.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. If at any point you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Bernadette. She is there to be a resource to you all. At any point, you can reach out to any staff member. If it is a financial question, you know, Bernadette is your go-to for the most part, but we can also help you. Well, we really appreciate your time. You have 7 extra minutes tonight because we're getting done a little bit early. Go wild. Michelle, if you want to use it wisely. Michelle, if you want to stay on, we can answer your question. But thank you all for being here, and thank you all for being treasurers in your Friends group. The work that you do is so very important. So we appreciate you taking on that responsibility.
Thank you. Have
Thank
a good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you
Good night.
guys.
Night.
Good night.